All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Had to check the day for a second. Welcome in. SPY. We're going to talk about it. Some big levels on SPY this morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Levels on SPY leveled yesterday. 589 broke. 589 massive level. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk with the ES chart. We'll go over the levels on ES, where the overhead supply is. Supply above us. We do have supply above us. We're not out of the woods yet, right? Nice session yesterday. Above that, someone said Brett Loki trading in Tory trades. No, you cannot say that. Do not say that. At least I execute live. Uh, not calling anybody out, but at least I execute live, which is different from what other people do, right? I do this pre-market every morning, and I actually execute. Unlike people who just post analysis and say, hey, look at this, look what I took, right? Wow, look what I took. Look what I took yesterday, right? I'll show you what I took yesterday. I took Tesla, right? Didn't make much on Tesla, but I came out green. And this is the reality of trading, right? I took Tesla short. I shorted Tesla here, right here. Did my camera just shut off? No, it didn't. It just made a sound. But I took Tesla where? Here. Right here, I took Tesla short at that 340, 150 level and got a little bit moved down. Nothing crazy, but that was my day yesterday. So you cannot call me Tory trades. Not calling anybody out, but I guess I kind of am a little bit. Anyway, guys, a lot to go over this morning. I really got to be careful. I have too many people now coming into these live streams. I feel like I got to be careful. I can't call people out, or maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe I should. Anyway, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Let's go on. So we'll talk about Tesla today. We'll talk about Tesla. What's going on with Tesla, right? We long Tesla on Friday. We shorted Tesla on Monday. What the hell is going on, right? What's today's session going to be about? Is it going to be about the long above 350? We'll talk about it. We're going to go over NVIDIA. We'll talk about NVIDIA 136.5. Fancy. Thank you, Fancy. Thank you, Fancy. Much appreciated, Fancy. Joshua as well, and Jetson. You guys are awesome. Joshua, Jetson, and Fancy, thank you guys for supporting. You guys are awesome. Welcome in, guys. Anyway, let's dive into it. So we have a lot to go over this morning session. I don't want to spend time talking about this stuff. We must talk about the charts today. That's the most important thing. That's why everyone's here, right? So let's talk about it. Anyway, earnings reports for today's session, Tuesday, May the 20th. Today's session, we have Home Depot, HD reporting, and they've already reported. They have gapped up a little bit. They look strong. Retail looks good, right? So that's the sort of theme of today's session is retail names, particularly the brick and mortar HD. Home Depot is doing well. We will talk about Home Depot a little bit today. We'll go over the chart there. Palo Alto, PANW reports today after hours. So obviously tomorrow we'll talk about it. But today after hours, Palo Alto reports. And then Wednesday session, you have Snowflake, SNOW, you have Target, you have ZM, some more retail names and some more tech names reporting. And this week is really going to finish off the earnings season, right? This is where the earnings season begins to sort of taper off and come to a close. In terms of economic data for today's session, yesterday's data session was pretty hefty. We had Fed speakers all day. Now today's session is nothing different. We also have Fed speakers today. We have Barkin, we have Bostic, we have I'm not gonna say his last name because I'm gonna say it wrong. Actually, I will. I'll say it. Musalam. I'm not saying it right. Anyway, Kugler, and then you also have some more G7 stuff happening this week as well. So just keep that in mind. Fed speakers today, and then obviously tomorrow's session, more Fed speakers, and Thursday session, big data. Friday, we'll get to that as well. So let's dive into our charts and let's talk about the levels in front of us. Fancy, you are awesome. Fancy's crazy. Thank you very much, Fancy. Anyway, let's move on. SPY chart. On the SPY chart, what we must talk about today's session is 589. The most important level yesterday, right? This was the most important level yesterday's session. It was 589. Very quickly off the morning session, I was looking for puts. My immediate response yesterday was bear bias. Look at the bear flag coming in the market, short the bear flag, look for a move down lower. That was my bias off the gate. Now, it took me personally, and I'll tell you guys this, it took me too long I knew not to go short, right? Once we broke above 589, I was saying, you know what? We shouldn't really short anymore. There's no price action agreeing with going short unless we saw a failure under 589. There was none of this happening yesterday. So obviously no short opportunities yesterday. But just because I didn't short the market yesterday because we saw uptrend forming, I could have taken that same mindset, the no short mindset, flipped my bias and went long. I did not do that yesterday's session. I did not go long yesterday, even though that was the move. Yesterday above 589 was the move. I hope some of you guys caught that though, right? Because this is why I do pre-market webinars. Because if you guys, pre-market webinars are, in my opinion, just level-based ideas here, right? If we are above 589, we are what? We're bullish. If we're below 589, we are bearish. Therefore, yesterday's session, if you were a better trader than me, you would have longed the 589 breakout, right? Otherwise, if you missed the 589 breakout yesterday, you were sitting there trying to catch crumbs, right? And that's what I was doing yesterday. Now, granted, still caught a little bit of a pie yesterday. Not the whole pie, but a little slice of a pie. But still, the overall direction of the market was alongside yesterday, right? We sort of broke out. We continued to break out. We bull flagged again above 592. We saw upside all day, right? No signs of failure all day. If you were shorting yesterday's session, it was quite difficult to do, right? You're just kind of catching crumbs in an overall uptrend. So what's going on today's session? Well, today's session here in SPY's chart, we saw the 589 reclaim come in. Market grinded higher all the way to 594, 595.50. 596, which is the high we produced in the after-hour session. The after-hour session 596 level was produced. And then we still are responding to this level here at 594.50, which was a level we had yesterday's session as well. And if you zoom out now, what's going on here on larger time frames? Well, here's what's going on here in larger time frames, right? So if you just zoom out for a second, we have continued this grind higher, okay? The grind higher has continued. We formed a low yesterday at 589. We broke above it, right? Reclaimed it. And in my eyes now, where is the next big level? The next big level we have to discuss is 597.50, right? This is the big level that we have not tested yet. This red, you know what, I'll make it yellow so everyone can see it, right? Why am I making it yellow? Because I want you guys to understand how important this level is. So right before the March 3rd massive downtrend, right? This was the start of all the craziest in the market. We produced a high here at 597.50. And this high that was produced here was the channel low for several weeks in a row, right? We were trading in a horrible, horrific channel for a while, right? And finally, we produced a break, a retest, and a massive downside move under that level. So far, we have seen us do what? We have seen us retrace back into that level, right? And sort of consolidate underneath this level here right now. I would argue we probably need some consolidation under 597.50, where we probably consolidate for a little bit here. And if we can break and hold above this level, we know that if this happens, if we do break and hold above 59750, we should see a move higher back into the channel highs here, which again, conveniently is our all-time high level. So the level we should be understanding is the most important level on our charts is 5975. If we can break above 5975, you should look for upside back into that back into the 610 level here on SPY's chart. So what we must look for today's session now, okay, is obviously still watch the 5975, but you also must zoom in for a second, right, and get an understanding of what happened yesterday. So even though this is the big level, right, this big yellow zone is a level, well, going into our yesterday session, what we could do now is understand what? Understand we do have supply here at 594.50, right? So if we get above 594.50, you can look for upside trend plays back into these highs and these highs. It's your first play here alongside. Or you can say, you know what, I want to wait for pullbacks today, and the best pullbacks are going to come into what areas? They're going to be either at this high of Thursday session, which is our 591, right? 591 pullback long, or it's going to be a 589 pullback long today, right? Those are the two things you'd watch out for. Again, you have your pullback longs here 591, your pullback longs here 589. The only short opportunities that I have today's session for puts, like if you're looking for put side trades today, in my opinion, is only really scalpable under 591. You can look for scalpable puts under 591 for a move lower back into 589. That would be a scalpable put opportunity, but again, you must understand that there is still demand here at 589, 589, and 589 to watch out for. So again, the scenario tree is as follows. This is the scenario tree. Scenario 1, we trend higher again today above 594.50, upside play. Scenario 2 is we pull back to 591. Scenario 3 is we pull back to 589. Those are the 3 scenarios we have today's session. You can trade all 3 of these scenarios. They're all valid scenarios today's session. Now, there's a level I'm missing here on SPY chart. The level I'm missing here in SPY chart is resistance. So I know we do have 596 here. We do have 59750. Those are the 2 levels of resistance or supply that we talked about. But there's a level on ES's chart that we didn't talk about. This ES chart is 5,600. Sorry, 6,000. 6,000. I'm for some reason I'm still in the five. My head is still in the 560s on SPY. Anyway, the level on ES's chart is 6,000. And this 6,000 level, if you do a quick measurement, let's just measure it quickly so we can get an idea of where this is in SPY. If you do a measurement from where we are right now here on SPY's chart, which is 5965, right? All the way up to that 6,000 ES level, it's approximately 0.6% higher, right? 0.59 to 0.6% higher here on the ES chart. So if you correlate that to where that is on SPY, right? And you run a quick retracement up here just to measure it up, you can see where that would be on the SPY chart will be somewhere around these highs over here, right? So this zone right now, conveniently, is the level, is almost the same level as that massive 59750 we spoke about here in SPY's chart. So again, just to measure it again, just to double check and make sure we're in the same boat here, right? So again, you're seeing here, it's exactly 597. So the big overhead supply, the massive supply, right? The massive supply is this level right here, this zone between 59750 and 597. Again, why? Because it's 6,000 ES, but it's not just 6,000 ES. It is the level that resulted in the downside on May 3rd, which caused us to go into downtrend for several weeks in a row, right? So again, watch to see if we can respond to there. If you want to look for shorts, that could be an area to watch for shorts. Again, I don't know how well it's going to work. The market's been uptrending, but if you want to look for shorts back in supply, that's what you're doing, right? That's your supply zone that you're watching out for. So again, that's your supply. Add it to the scenario tree if you want to, but again, that's a level, right? On the ES chart, back to this for a second. Again, obviously 6,000 ES, big level. We have that Friday high here, 5,976, which again is that SPY 594.50, right? And then ES's chart, back to ES for a second, you can see 5,924 as that Wednesday high and that Tuesday high. So if we do want to look for long side trades today, or your best possible long side trade is going to be this today, right? A pullback long here, back in demand. If that happens, that's a good trade today to watch out for. So again, demand below here, 589 SPY, which is 5,924. If it pull back to there, that's your long side trade, right? Okay, so that is what we have here on the indices. I know it's a lot of information, but I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about here. On the Qs chart, on the QQQ chart, you can see here, the level we spoke about yesterday was 517. We said if we can reclaim 517, you can look for upside back into highs here, right? And that's what happened yesterday, right? We broke above 517. I am not a QQQ trader, right? I've never been a QQQ trader. I think actually I did try it for a few months, and it was not the most fun time for me. But you can see here in the QQQ, it actually was a pretty well-respected chart. You could see we sort of had some nice big momentum candles off the open, right? We saw a breakout at 945, and we saw us do a little bit of a bull flag continuation trade here above 517. That was your upside trade. So it wasn't a big juicer of an opportunity here on QQQ yesterday, right? It wasn't really much upside here, but it was still valid, right? And there was a little bit of choppiness between your 10 o'clock and your 1245, 1250 area, but it still was a beautiful upside chart yesterday in the Qs after reclaiming a major level. And the contingency yesterday was we were bearish as long as we were under 517. So what happens when we break above 517? You now must flip bias back to bullish, right? So the level this morning, again, is not complicated. It is simply the same thing. It's 517 here in Qs. For bullish momentum to be active today, the level we must hold is 517. It's 517 today. So look for pullback longs here, 517. If we hold there, that's your best possible long opportunity. If we fail below 517, short it and look for the move down lower back into our Monday's lows. That's it, right? So everything we must do today on the Qs is defined by whether we are above the 517 level or below the 517 level. If we are above it, bullish. If we are below it, bearish. That is it here on the QQQ chart, right? So with that being said, let's move into our charts now. I want to start talking about the actual individual tickers of today's session. How many people do we have here this morning? We have 1,124 people, and we have 3 305 likes. Let's get the like count up, guys. Please, that will be very helpful. It helps the algorithm and it makes it easier for us to get this to grow big, so we can actually we can actually grow this bigger than some of the other people who don't execute live. Right. I need to chill. Tesla. Right. So Tesla's chart. Black Trump. Thank you, Black Trump. You're awesome, man. Black Trump is awesome. Thank you very much, Black Trump. Thank you very much. Right. So Tesla chart. Tesla, we longed it on Friday off of this level here, right? If you guys remember, it was not an easy day for me. I got stopped out, then I re-entered here and got upside back into highs. That was my day on Friday, right? It was a nice long opportunity in Friday session. And then yesterday's session, what did we do? We shorted back at the same level we went long at on Friday session. We grinded higher on Tesla, right? We knew not to short it into 332. We grinded higher into on this Tesla chart back into that previous day low, and I went short. I'll show you where I went short. If you guys are in Honey Drip, you guys probably know where I went short. Now I'm not showing you this to like tell you this was an amazing trade, because it wasn't, but it still was a good trade. I waited for us to be sort of continued trending higher, right? We pushed a high here at exactly where the previous day low was, right? Very simple short opportunity. I didn't short the highs here. I did not. I waited for us to break trend first. Once we broke trend, which was right there, right? I'll show you. It's like right here is where I went short, almost the top of that red candle. And I went short there with a stop loss simply above 342 and got a downside move back into like 338. And that was my day yesterday, right? So it was not a very sexy day, right? It was just short here, sell there. And it was a slow moving chart, which contracts kind of got burned up a bit, but it still was an opportunity, right? Now, today's session, the same level we went short at yesterday, we are now above that level. Right, so we're now above that level, and right now I have no indication to go short yet, right? Because there is no reason to be shorting Tesla as long as we are above that Monday's highs. So your main watch today's session should be this. It should be either one, short this stock if we get back under 343. Look for a break and retest under our Friday's lows, under our Monday's highs. If we break under 343, we can short this for a move down lower. Hopefully we get more of a move than we did yesterday, but I will do the same thing again, right? Under that 343, puts downside play back in 332. We should move lower to here. This is where we should go to. Do we do it? I don't know. But again, that's what I would do. Under 343 for puts, under the Monday's highs, under the Friday's lows, we should move back into these lows and these lows here, 332. That would be your best short opportunity today's session. If it does this today, right? And starts consolidating like this, this is the dead zone. This is where you die, right? I don't want to die today, right? So do not get chopped up in the dead zone. This is the dead zone. If we break above 350, that's where the long opportunity comes in, and we can look for a long opportunity above these highs and above these highs. That's it. So it's either this or this, right? If you try trading it between these areas, right, you may not get big movement, right? It's just a zone. It's just a zone. It's a consolidation. It's nothing crazy here. It's a dead zone. So be careful in the dead zone, right? That's the graveyard, right? So that's Tesla. Nvidia, a little bit of an outperformer yesterday, and something we spoke about. What did we talk about yesterday? We were all over the place yesterday. We were talking about bear side on SPY, bear side on Qs, but then we said, you know what? Look at the Nvidia chart, right? Nvidia is maintaining demand really well here, right? 130 demand maintaining well, and by no means is this bearish. Nvidia was part of the reason why the market had upside yesterday. So that's what caused the market to move higher, right? Now, today's session, what can we watch here at NVIDIA? On NVIDIA's chart today, you can see that we have a beautiful bull flag, right? You see a little consolidation here, right? A little beautiful bull flag. And the question becomes, does this bull flag result in a continuation, right? What I'd be watching for on NVIDIA now is I'd look to see if we can break and hold above 136.50. If we can break and hold above these highs here, I think we can see a nice breakout trade, right? Look for a little break and retest opportunity, an upside trade. That could be a nice trade today above the 136.5 level for longs. If we pull back today, if we see a pullback today in NVIDIA, don't consider a pullback bearish, right? As long as we're above 130, it's not bearish, right? So if we pull back to 130, it's a long opportunity there as well. So again, longs here at 130, longs above 136.50. The only short opportunity comes if we break and hold under that 130 level. If we break and hold under 130, that's your short opportunity to move down lower. So this is your only, this white this white scenario here, right? The white scenario is going to be the only scenario that we see a bear side play, right? That to me would be the bear side trade here on Nvidia for a downside move back at 120, right? So again, 130 bounce, 136.50 break and retest. If that happens, look for upside back into these highs. That's what I'm watching here on this Nvidia chart. Now, obviously, what if this happens today? If we see us break and hold above 136.5 and fail below it, obviously don't long it, right? It probably is going to retrace back to demand here. So again, that's also a scenario as well today. But the thing I would watch for today the most is going to be this break and hold above 136.5 for upside trades. Okay, on the AMD chart. This is one of the main things I was watching yesterday for long side was AMD above 116. Now, what did AMD do yesterday? It did nothing, right? AMD did nothing yesterday. What can we watch today's session here in AMD? Well, the same thing I was watching yesterday, I will also watch today. Does this beautiful bull flag result in any upside trade? That's what I'm watching for. If we can break and hold above 116, I have confirmation for longs, and I can look for upside trades back into 120, back into these highs here, 118.50, and then 122 as potential targets here, right? So again, 116 breakout in an AMD for long side trades. If we break below 113, the bull flag is X'd out, and we move down lower into 110 and potentially beyond that. So for short trades, look for a move under 113. For long trades, look for moves above 116. So again, if you're trading this AMD chart, you're trading either longs above resistance or shorts below support. That's it. That's all we're doing here on this AMD chart. Cottrell, thank you very much. Cottrell, yes, I will go over that. That is very kind of you. I would have gone over Hood for you, but we'll go over Hood now. So Hood chart. Hood chart. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to Hood. Let's continue with our betas. Let's continue with our betas. We'll go back to Hood at the end. We'll do that at the end. Meta. So Meta first. Meta. 660 on Meta. Watch 660 on Meta's chart. Obviously, this is supply. That was a supply we rejected off of last week. What I'd watch out for now is, do we find demand below here at the 610 level? So 610 level is your big demand zone. I think it probably goes back to 610 at some point in time. I don't know when, but I think it does happen at some point. So watch 610. That's where we like to retrace to. You can look for longs off 610, or you can look for longs off 660. But again, Meta's chart to me, I don't really have a good read here, right? I think this likely just fades back to our demand lows here, okay? Microsoft's chart. Microsoft actually has a really nice chart here, right? If you guys were on live with us yesterday, I spoke about the idea of that 456 level being a long opportunity, right? Remember I said 456 being a technical long spot. Well, what happened yesterday here at 456? Well, yesterday's session on this Microsoft chart, we had a beautiful, what am I doing? We had a beautiful high built over here at 456, and we saw a breakout, a retest here at 456, and a long opportunity, right? Back into 460. Now, again, this chart was not sexy, kind of like Tesla, or we took Tesla shorts. This chart was kind of the same idea. It looks like a great chart, right? It looks like if you went long here, you would have made a lot of money. But to be honest with you, I don't even think you would have, because this consolidation and choppiness yesterday would have resulted in this being a very, very slow chart. And the contracts probably barely moved, just like Tesla. That's why even if you went long yesterday, some of these names you went long on, right, weren't even that strong moving, because the first move of the day, the first 15 minutes, that was where you had to be long, right? If you weren't long the first 15 minutes, you got caught in some consolidation and choppiness. So here in Microsoft's chart, even though I'm talking about this chart being a bull side trade, and obviously it all worked out so well, maybe it didn't, right? Maybe it was a little bit slow yesterday. But what I'd watch out for today's session here in Microsoft's chart is I'd watch to see if we can break above 460, right? 460 Microsoft, if we can clear above this level, look for longs. And this is a chart that I think probably does move back to all-time highs, right? You can see here, all-time highs is at 468. So in no time we'll be there, right? I think in no time we'll be there, and we clear above 460. I think that's where things become confirmed. So look for a move above 460 for long side trades back into 468. Now, granted, we do have supply here at 465. So I'll chart that out as well. You can see 465 as technical level. You can see a low here and a high there. I know it's hard to see for you guys, but I'll zoom in so you can see it. Right, you can see here, there is a low here and a high there at 465. So on the daily time frame. So watch out for that as well. Obviously, if we break above 460, longs are valid, right? But only until that 465 and then 468. Those are your all-time highs here on Microsoft's chart, okay? Apple. On the Apple chart, we spoke about Apple under 207 for puts. What happened yesterday? Apple broke under 207. We retested 207. We saw a little bit of downside move. Then we broke and held above 207 and reclaimed it all day. So this was an interesting chart yesterday. It was bear side chart in the morning and then bull side chart in the afternoon. Some of the most difficult sessions, and you guys are going to see this over and over again. The most difficult sessions are the days where everyone expects there to be bear side momentum and then it shifts to bull side, or the vice versa. Everyone expects it to be bull side momentum and it shifts to bear side momentum. You guys have to understand where the market shifts, right? And where the market shifts is going to be just based on levels. Yesterday's session, what was the level on Apple? It was simply just 207. If we're under 207, we're bearish. If we're above 207, we're bullish, right? So that's your flip and that's your sentiment gauge. Yesterday, right, again, SPY chart, going back to this for a second, that level was 589. Even for myself, I knew we were bullish about 589, right? I did not short about 589, but I should have probably longed that level yesterday. So that's why it's important you guys have the levels that make your bias before the market opens, so that when you are trading that session, you know, okay, why am I bullish right now? Are you bullish just because you want the market to go up, or are you bullish because you're above that level you were talking or thinking about in that pre-market session, right? So that's the most important part. Right now, we're bullish because we are above 589, right? So that should be your gauge going forward into this morning session. If we go back into resistance, right, we move into resistance today, back into 596, 597. Why are you bearish? Well, because we're back at supply, right? So again, you must understand these levels. And that's why Apple, right? Apple yesterday was bearish under 207, but is back bullish above 207. So this morning session, what are we right now? We're bullish, right? Above 207, we're bullish. It doesn't look very strong. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look very strong, but it is certainly bullish right now. So again, if you're trading Apple today, you're probably looking to see, can we hold 207 for a long side? Well, that's your first watch. Or we break under 207, look for short side plays back into 201. Okay, Amazon chart. On the Amazon chart, watch what? Watch 207, right? You can see 207 supply, very clear 207 supply, right? And I'm going to make an adjustment here. You can see we have that Monday highs here at 207. We have that Friday highs here at 207. And that breakdown level from Thursday, 207. I wonder why I had my level as 206 yesterday, because the real level, you can see is this dotted line here at 207. So let's flip this out and make the adjustment here, because you can see here, this is the level to watch here on Amazon's chart. And this could be a potential play today, right? Watch to see if we can turn this 207 into support. Because if we can turn 207 into support today, which would be a break, a retest, right? We can look for upside back to 210. So watch 207 today here in Amazon. That could be a chart to watch out for moving forward, right? So let's move on, guys. Let's talk about Netflix. We'll go over tickers you guys are watching. We'll do Netflix, Hood. We'll do Home Depot. We'll do some other names now. So Netflix chart. Netflix chart, Thursday's level. What's Thursday's level here? With Netflix, you have to get granular sometimes. You have to get really granular. Netflix's level is, I mean, you can see that. Look at that Friday low level. Friday low, the breakout level from Monday session, 1,179, 1,180, right? This is the level here on Netflix now. You have a high produced here at 1,200, right? So what I look for today's session is I look to see if we are above 1,200, look for upside, right? Or if we break under 1,180, look for shorts in a downside play back into 1,162, right? Those are the two things I'd watch here on Netflix's chart, okay? Nothing crazy here on Netflix. Right now, obviously, chart's bullish though, right? This chart's obviously bullish as long as we're above this level right here, okay? Hood chart, Hood. So, Hood, all-time highs, right? If you want a case study here, let's just look at the case study here. So this is Hood, all-time highs. This is the first time we've come back in all-time highs since back in February 2025, right? And if you zoom out for a second, just making sure this is not all-time highs, right? So we do have a pre-IPO, we do have an IPO high here around 86, 85, right? There's emotional, is this a real candle though? I want to make sure this is a real candle here. Sometimes you have to really get into this and see if we have to get knee deep into this chart right now. So this all-time high here, right? This all-time high here is not really an all-time high. It's not really an all-time high, right? I don't really see, this is all pre-market price action, right? If you want, we can even get more granular. Let's get even more granular here. Is it a real candle, right? I guess actually it is a real candle, right? This is actual real price action. This is right post IPO. ripped higher back into 85 and failed it. So this actually is real data, right? It looks like it's fake data on the 15-minute 1 hour, but it actually is real data here. So that is the all-time high here. The all-time high here is 85 on Hood. So what's the level I'd watch out for now? The level I'd watch out for now is going to be this 6650 level, which is not the all-time high, but it almost kind of is the all-time high. I know that's the real all-time high is here 85, but this is just crazy wonky post-IPO move. I would say the level to watch out for now is 65, right? If we can break and hold about 65, you may see us fill the gap between here and here. But I think that the ultimate thing you should be watching out for right now in Hood is, should you be overly long on Hood into this level here? And I think the answer is no, right? I think what you should be looking for now is you should be scaling out of your long options. You should be scaling out of those long-term plays and look to see if we can break and hold above 66.5 for an upside move. If that happens, then you can go long again. But as of right now, be careful back into that previous high here, that February high, which is a big level to watch out for. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go over UNH. UNH. So what did we say yesterday about UNH? Yesterday we said if we are above 285, take your hands off the trigger, right? Just understand this is likely a bull side move now, and we can see this target back in 342, right? So this should move back into these highs over here, 342. I would expect this type of action right now, right? A little bit of a grindy, slow, grindy upside moving at 342. The gap fill begins at 342, right? And this is where I think the gap fill begins. I'm just going to confirm. Yes, it is. I'm right. You can see here the gap fill is at 342, 343. And just to get the precise level here, let's get the precise level. Make sure we're right about this one. So the level here is 342.50. Okay, that's the exact daily high here from Tuesday, May 13th. So if you're looking for upside trades here on UNH, you're looking to see, can we get above this 342 level? If we can do this today, that's your upside trade, right? I don't know why my drawing is horrible right now, but again, that's the idea here. 342.50 breakout, that's the gap fill comes in. You can look for the gap fill move. As of right now, though, right? As of right now, what's the overall momentum here? Momentum is bullish right now, and we're going to be bullish as long as we're above 301.50. So if you want to be smart, what you should do is you should say, you know what? I'm going to hold UNH as long as we're above 300, right? This is your, I'll give the 300 now, right? 300 is your low. This is your low now, so 300 is your trail stop. And if we're above 300, we're bullish. If we do this today, you're bullish. You're still holding. If we can break and hold above 342, you're even more so bullish, targeting the gap fill back into these highs. That's what I do here on UNH's chart, okay? But again, ask yourself this though. If you see this chart do this today, if you see the chart do this, would you panic sell? If you would panic sell because the chart does that, then you should get out of this trade and sell now, right? But if you know you've taken off some exposure and you're comfortable holding now, and if it does this, you're not going to panic sell, then you should hold, and that's the right decision to do. Because again, this is still higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low formation. As long as you can hold that higher low, you're fine, right? So 300 stop loss should be what you're doing now on this UNH chart. Okay, so let's move on. We did Amazon already, guys. Let's do DKNG. DKNG, DraftKings, a little bit of some meme stock name here. You can see we have a level here. This is the level we have here on DKNG. This is the structural level here, 36.5. That's the level here on this DKNG chart, right? So, I mean, that's the only thing I'm watching here is I can hold that. You can look for high. You can look for this to break back into highs here at 40, right? That's your next big level, 40 on this DKNG chart. Okay, Zaza. Is that a Zaza? I feel like I'm being trolled right now. This cannot be a chart to watch. I don't think you're actually going over this chart. That must mean something. I think it's something else. Okay, I'm gonna skip it. PLTR. PLTR, last chart of the day, guys. We'll finish off with PLTR. So the bear side move was under 125, right? Bears were valid under 125. Bulls overtook 125. Break, retest, upside move now. So PLTR, bearish under 125, bullish above 125. Obviously, the bull side play is what worked yesterday, right? Above 125. As long as we're above this 125 level, we're bullish. I would look to see, can we get above 130? If you can get above 130, that's your next all-time high breakout. Look for this today, a break and hold above 130. That's your top watch going into today's session. Guys, so thank you all for joining in. I will see you guys all for live trading if you trade with us. Happy and safe trading today. Thank you guys.